He is a tiger at the poker table.
Well, the chips are really splashing around, Mike. You don't want to miss the action on the World Poker Tour.
Here at Foxwoods Resort and Casino, 4 of the world's best poker players and 1 tough amateur remain in the hunt for the ultimate prize. Hundreds of thousands of dollars and a trip to the WPT Championship.
All right.
Okay, it's going to be on Peter. First one to act now. He's got a 6-5. He's going to throw that, and he's got a Queen-7. He can't possibly play that, and he doesn't. Howard with an 8-jack, not going to play.
Now here comes Lane in a small blind. Look at this. He's got a 3-8, one of the very worst hands you can have in Hold'em, and he still calls a small blind.
Well, they are 2 diamonds. He's just flopping around.
Unbelievable. They're just clashing again. Okay, now the flop comes 6-5-4.
That makes Phil a pair of 6s.
But Lane lays out and bets 10,000 because he has an open-end straight. He has 3, 4, 5, 6. But Phil's calling him with the top pair on the board, the 2 6s. Whoa, there's a 3. Now that pairs Lane, but it makes a 4-card straight out there. It's pretty much of a scare card.
They check.
Now it goes check. And now 6 comes at the river. Lane checks, and this makes Phil 3 6s.
Phil's going to bet 10 grand with his 3 6s. Lane's going to look this over. There's a little momentum switch here. Lane's going to throw it away.
Now Phil's going to win the pot.
The 2 young bucks going at each other, just locking horns.
They are definitely going to clash before the day's over, no doubt about it. They're actually good friends away from the table. But on the table, as you know, Vince, it's dog eat dog. Phil Ivey with a commanding chip lead once again, nearly 300,000 in chips. Lane's got a little bit over 200,000. Andy's got nearly 200,000. And Peter and Howard are bringing up the rear. The action is on Peter. Looks at a 9-7 offsuit. He folds.
Andy's got an ace here. He's got an ace-7 offsuit.
He comes in again. He raises it up with 16,000 to go.
Andy raises.
Howard has a Queen-8 of clubs. A pretty interesting hand.
He folds it, though. Now, Howard's on the short stack, remember. If he plays a pot, it's going to be for all his chips, probably.
Lane's out.
Phil calls the raise with a Queen-10.
Here we go.
Flop is 6-3 deuce.
And on the flop, we have
Phil checks.
Deuce.
Check.
Phil checks.
Here comes Andy for 20,000.
Bet 20,000.
Phil throws his hand away. Andy wins the pot. Nice bet by Andy.
Bet.
Hometown favorite. Bets with an ace. Crowd loves that.
One of my earliest memories is playing card games. I would always love to play games with the family.
A lifetime of family competition is paying off handsomely for Andy Block. But his journey to the final table took a legal detour.
I had gotten into gambling after college, and then I decided I wanted to do something a little bit more. So I applied for law school, thinking that I would be some kind of public interest lawyer.
Law school was challenging for Andy, but the lure of the poker world was too much. Andy got his law degree, passed the bar, then headed straight for the high-stakes tables.
After I got out of law school and I didn't actually take a job, I think my parents were a little disappointed. Yeah, I'm hoping I do well here so that I can make them proud.
For Andy Block, poker is a full-time job. But there may come a day when he folds for good.
I still think I'll end up doing something related to law. It's not what I do for the lion's share of my earnings throughout the year.
For that, Andy turns to the tables, and a game he's been practicing to win all his life.
All right, the action's on Andy here. Looks down at a 6-deuce offsuit. He folds.
Howard with an 8 and a 6 in his hand. It's going to go out.
And Lane gives up the button. He had a Queen 6 offsuit. Now Phil just calls with ace high here. That's pretty interesting for an aggressive player like him.
2 players in a pot. Comes the flop.
Flop is Jack 10-7. I notice
10-7,
Peter has a
all
Jack and a
different
7. He has flop 2 pair here. Phil Ivey is checked.
Checked.
He's going to bet right into it.
Peter bets 12,000.
12,000. Fills out.
And Ivy slips right out of the
Peter's
noose.
going to win the pot.
Well, he doesn't play as many tournaments as these guys, but Pete Giordano is definitely proving that he's going to be a force to be reckoned with here at Foxwoods.
We got a lot more action coming up, so stay with us. We're coming back on the World Poker Tour.
Sheila, it's to you.
Does anyone like a Danish?
AbsolutePoker.com. You in?
Five players are still in the hunt for a prize pool worth nearly $1 million. Let's get back to the game.
Well, the aggressive Phil Ivey is our chip leader with nearly 300,000 in chips. But Howard, on the other hand, who's been biding his time, very conservative today.
A lot of pressure here, but you can't wait all day for those big aces. You got to get in there and mix it up. Okay, it's going to be up to Andy. He's got a Jack deuce. He's going to throw it away.
Now Howard peeks down and finds an ace 10.
Okay, that's a lot better than that queen 8 last hand. He's going to, looks like he's going to raise it up here with a real hand, ace 10.
Comes in for 12,000.
Lane's going out with a 9 deuce.
Now look at Phil here.
Oh, boy.
Now Phil's calling with 2 7s. He's got 2 7s. He raised with all that garbage. When he gets a hand, he just calls. He just wants to see a flop before he does anything.
Wants to pray for that set.
Flop is King, Queen, 4.
Phil checks it real quickly with his 7s.
Now notice that Howard's drawing at the very best possible hand if he wanted to take a free card off to see it. Or will he bet? But look at Phil. He doesn't take his eyes off of this guy.
Right.
And Howard reaches down and grabs 20,000.
Oh, it's a good place to be. He can do the semi-bluff. Catches a jack, he has a cinch. If he doesn't, by betting, he may still win the pot.
He folds this hand. He lays the 7s down. Maybe Howard's about ready to change gears here and get into firing some of these pots up.
He's making his own luck here.
Believe me, Howard's the one guy who does not want to double up in this competition, I can tell you. They all fear Howard. And he's just doing a marvelous job without having a lot of chips to play with.
Howard
And here he comes again, raising for 12,000.
Look at this. Lane has picked up 2 aces, and he's playing it slow. He's just called, Mike.
He just called. He didn't re-raise. Phil folds. Peter folds. And Andy gets out of the way. Here we go. This is King Jack versus 2 aces.
He's checking his cards like he doesn't remember that he has aces.
I'll tell you, he is trying to trap Howard Leder in this pot.
Here we go.
Whoa, the flop comes King Jack 3. Howard Leder's flopped the top 2 pair. This is going to spell big trouble for Lane in this hand. He has slow played the aces.
Look, he's yawning. Lane is yawning on this. I mean, this is not just acting. This is bad acting. I've seen better acting in a Britney Spears movie.
Now look at Howard. He's also doing some acting right here. These guys need to get a Screen Actors Guild card or something here. He checked. Howard checked the top 2 pair to the aggressive Lane Flack. Lane bets 12,000.
Now Lane thinks he's milking him here. Lane,
Yes,
little does he know.
Look at Howard's face. Now look at this. He's trying to say, do I really want to call? We know, in fact, that he is definitely going to move on this pot.
What are you going to do, Howard? Are you going to massage him and just call? Are you going to try to bust him out now?
Okay, here comes Howard. Look at this. Howard's going to raise him. Howard is check raise Lane Flack here.
The old check raise, the old trap play.
All in.
Lane quickly says all in, and Howard cannot wait to get these chips in the pot. Lane is not going to like what he sees here.
Lane says all in, and Howard beat him in the pot.
Look at this. Lane was slow playing the 2 aces. Howard turns up the top 2 pair.
Lane definitely looks distressed.
He's not dead now. If a 3 or an ace comes up, he's going to win the pot. Now Lane will need a 3, a 7, or an ace, or Howard Leder will double up.
It's a 9.
A 9 comes off.
Do it. The ace is going to get beat.
A 9 comes off. Howard Leder is doubled up. Look at Lane Flack. He tried to set a trap for Howard, and he got his foot caught in the trap himself. He doubles Howard Letter up right here.
Well, that's really unfortunate for Lane. Look at him.
I'll tell you the truth. I sort of like the way he played this hand. Now, people are out there going to say, what's wrong with this idiot? Why didn't he re-raise him with the two aces? I like the way he played it. He tried to trap him. He just got very unlucky that Howard flopped the top two pair. Howard Letter is now going to be a force to be reckoned with in this tournament. Now we're on Phil Ivey. Looks at a king 3 offsuit.
Andy has the button.
He folds.
15.
Now here comes Peter. Now Peter has a queen jack.
15,000.
Offsuit, but he's going to play it.
And he plays it.
15,500.
And he bets 15,500. He likes to bet that odd little 500. It's a superstition for him, I think.
You're right about that. Andy's out. Howard's out. Now Lane's going to call.
Now Lane has a 7-6 of diamonds.
Oh, but look at this. Lane just flicked that last one into mock Peter, because Peter always likes to do that.
Okay, here we go. Here comes the flop. Flop is 9-7 deuce with two spades.
9-7 deuce.
Now Lane has made the second pair, but he checks because Peter raised the pot, and Peter checks.
Check, check.
Now the board pairs nines.
14,000.
Now Lane definitely thinks he's got the best hand here, and he bets 14,000.
Now look at this. Peter's checking his hand. He sees that he has one spade in his hand, the jack of spade.
Well, he's calling this. He's calling 14,000. I don't like this call, though. And now a third 9 comes up. Now this is a very good card, I think, for Lane Flaxhan.
Well, I'll say he just made a full boat.
He's just wondering what happened here. Does the guy really have a bigger pair than me? Maybe he was on a spade draw. Maybe he'll try to bluff this pot.
Check.
They both checked.
7.
7.
Now, amazingly,
7-6
with no
for
chance
Lane.
to
He's
win
got a
this
full
hand,
house.
Peter
9
checks
full
at the
sevens.
river.
Let's hear it for Lane Flack.
He made a good check because he certainly would have got called by Lane there. Lane had 9s full of 7s. But Peter, you thought, would have taken a stab at that pot if he called on 4th Street. It's the only way he could probably win it with a queen high. He opted to check. Lane wins the pot. Well, I'll tell you got to give him a little credit. He tried to bluff the pot, but right now Peter knows he's up against the best of the best.
So you think only full-time pros can succeed on the World Poker Tour? Then meet Peter Giordano.
I work for Hewlett-Packard. I'm a sales rep for their services organization. I play mostly in the East. I'm not well known. I'm probably the least well known out of the people in the final table. I really don't play the amount of tournaments that the rest of these players play.
But Pete is one of many players who have taken advantage of the explosion in online poker.
It's a little different playing online tournaments than it is live tournaments because you can't see the people, but you can play and practice strategies.
Pete has taken those online strategies and put